Right.
So Gita is the chapters in Gita. Sar said yes, we have to discuss the chapter about Gita. It's a wonderful example. So we have some goals in our life. So to reach that goals, we need some direction. A proper direction should be there, and we need a proper guidance, and we need a right attitude. So when we start doing that, the first chapter itself, it says that says Sri Krishna says Shudram Hృదయ Daurbalyam. That's excellent. He says Shudram Hృదయ Daurbalyam. Means it's not good. You are running away. It's not good. You are just facing. You have to face it. That is the excellent. He says be fearlessness. So that fearlessness is the excellent. Means personally, I feel. So personally, I feel it's an excellent subject. First, fearlessness, and you have to do this. So he motivates Arjunas. Then again he says Sthita Prajna is the perfect mind. In that only second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, he says the Sthita Prajna Lakshanas. So if you have to be like that, Sthita Prajna means perfect mind, which is properly guided and which is properly it has a perfect thoughts. So the proper way of thinking is a proper way in any situation is a proper way of thinking is not misguided and is not distractions will be naturally the mind distractions and attractions naturally will be there. So you have to come out of that and in that he says that the sense organs the indriyas are very he says they are very powerful. He accepts that. Lord Krishna also says they are very powerful. Pramadani, use the word pramadani. It's very dangerous. And what they do, they disturb you. Naturally, they disturb you. And if you go with them, so life will be so. So he says, is there any way means, is there a proper way is there that is that one is abhyasa means practice. You practice abhyasa. Next he says vairagya. These two things are there. If you achieve these two things in your life, so he gave the best formula. So we too think, I think personally I feel we should do this work. I feel you should do this this way we have to go. This channel. Suddenly what happens? I am disturbed. I change my direction. I'll go in a different way. So I think what happened to me? Why I did like this? This I have to go to this way, but I went this way. What happened to me? So something is misguiding me. So what is that which is misguiding me? So we have to think again. We have to think again. Then we will get that answer. So something is working. The nature is working on you. The nature is working on you, and it is you are becoming slaves. And the Swami Vivekananda says what is do work like a master, don't be like a slave. And again we remind I should not become slave to the nature. So nature, if you are bounded to the nature, that is the animal's life, because animals are totally under the control of this nature. But we have that opportunity. He says that in Krishna says, Lord Krishna says, we have the opportunity to we can overcome the nature, and that he calls it as a Sankhya Yoga is the last poem. Is there Padyam? He says it's a Brahmistiti, Kesha Brahmistiti Partha. This is the excellent state of mind which is not under the control of the nature. It's a superior mind. It's a superior mind, and he can overcome the nature. The nature gives some instructions, and he can reject the instructions. And Swami Vivekananda excellently says, whatever that makes you physically, mentally, and intellectually weak, reject it as a poison, and this is your authority. Is your mind authoritative? Is that Swami Vivekananda excellently says, reject it as a poison. So I remember these things again. I will again what? I'll again make up my mind. Okay, this way we have to go. Attractions and distractions. Okay. Again, I'll practice. I practice. So sometimes it happens naturally. I may be distracted, but again I try. I'll I'll take the blessings of these classes like this satsang classes and my friends. I discuss. So I'll keep a good company. I'll read some good books. Book reading I'll maintain. and I'll do JPA. As once I asked you in my degree, I think, so these things I am distracted like this. So exams are coming. So at the degree stage, you said JPA, you do JPA like that. Nama JPA means that I am continuing the JPAs, and that knowledge you gave in the degrees and satsanga that I am maintaining. And in this way, it is a nice class, and it's nice opportunity. And I think so. This is a good channel to me, and personally, I feel this company will help me to maintain a proper spirit of mind. Proper means sometimes I feel I am failing in my thoughts. I am failing means I am guided. It means I am not going in my way in a proper way. So then these types of classes and your direction and this company is rare to give, because I have friends. The friendship will be there. It will be only for fun. I have some friends and I have some partial. They will be different. What is there? You are married? Yes, you are settled. You have children? You are settled. You constructed a building? You are settled. Say you are settled. But actually, it doesn't make any fulfillment in my life. I feel that when I am settled in my life is when a proper thinking is there for me. I am thinking in a proper. I have a right attitude. If I think I have a right attitude, I think I will be settled. How you get the right attitude is the question, and that questions always comes to my mind. But the answer I won't give. So answer I can't give properly. Do you have the right attitude? That question, but it's not possible. And I think it's a proper settlement, and it's a good opportunity, sir. What I talked is personally what I feel, what I am my sadhana, and this is an opportunity to talk with you, sir, and us all good people. I shared my thoughts with you, and thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Don't say opportunity. It is. So, JP sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. So you to say something then. Namaste.
Actually I wanted to. Most of us might be wanting to hear from you, because
of course
you
I
have
continue.
More treasures are there in you. More treasures are there in you hidden. So let it pour in. Let it pour in us. Because the human mind, it's the very basis, as Mahinder sir said. Human mind it always likes to be in the lower plane. Its nature is like that. I mean, a mediocre mind, not a trained mind. A mediocre mind, always its attitude is going to be there in the lower plane, and will always tell us, oh, you don't do. And it has a very good weapon, that postponement. Everything will be postponed. And creating all kind of messiness. Sri M used to say, Sri M's words I borrow. He says, my mind wants to be at the lower plane only. We should do something to keep it at higher plane. Once it is at the higher plane, when through abhyasa, we can see that it is at the higher plane. Continuously, day after day, for karmic effect is there. For some people, a few days, few months. For someone, a minute is enough for awakening. For some people, years will take. Even one, this birth will not be sufficient. But anyhow, we can be happy that we are on the road. We are on the road to destination. being on the road to destination is better than in a state of derailment. We are sure that one day we will reach there at his feet. So that abhyasa, renunciation and all, very easy to speak, difficult to practice. For a penniless man on the road, a bhikshu, I mean a yachak, for him it is very easy to say renounce because he has nothing. There is no weight on his pouch. There is no weight on his pouch. But the other one, Christ says, it is as easy for a rich man to go into heaven as for a camel through a needle hole. How easy for a camel to go out through a needle hole, that easy for a rich man to reach heaven. Where your treasures are, there your heart will be. So lay treasure on him, at his feet, so that your heart will be linked to him, Christ says. So abhyasa is the most important tool in our hand which we can use to reach the higher realms of this in our destination to reach his feet. And satsang is the beautiful concept wherever such an opportunity is there. As Mahinder sir said, opportunity for the satsang being in good. We have many friends, many friends, but more when we reach this spiritual talk, they disperse by themselves. They can't bear with this for more than 5 minutes. So that is very difficult to get. But this virtual meet and this media, this internet and some such services, that helps us, people all over the world, to unite. The necessity is the mother of invention. When there the need arises, some way will be open unto us. So more than that, when we have the yearning, and when there is the thirst, definitely that will be quenched by some means. That is definite. So this satsang arranged by and led by Charisar, his initiative, I always keep high regard of that. This gathering, this meeting, may it go on for a long number of days so that we can reach the goal. We can slowly, as Ramesha says, little by little, maybe on the slippery ladder. Even though we will reach and make maximum effort, and yoga, meditation, such techniques will help us to reach the destination. These are vehicles which carry us to the destination. Yoga, Kriya Yoga, or some yogic techniques and all. Meditation and all these are vehicles. Maybe bullet train sometimes. Japanese bullet train which takes us very faster to the destination. Some people walk on foot. Some people may be on a slippery ladder. 1 step ahead, 2 step back, 3 step ahead, like that. They will reach, but takes years and years, births and births. So I am thankful that such a meet, such a satsang. I used to read books, but now reading has been dwindled due to I am a liar if I say no time I am getting. I will get maybe my laziness. No one can say I couldn't get time, I am busy. When there is a time fixed for that, when a plan is scheduled, definitely will get time. So I am a liar if I say I couldn't get time. I am sorry, I have hectic schedule and all. No. This is the highest goal in one's life. Highest goal in one's life. So if we cannot find some time for this, then what's the use of this life? So anyhow, I do prayers every day. Every day, distractions are there, but as I said earlier, I am on the track. I am on the road. That way, I am happy. And constant effort, I will put. And Kari sir, Mahinda sir, or Abhay, like the company, that will also help us together in our meet, in our journey. So this is what I want to share with for the time being. Thank you, Chad sir.
Yes. Yes. Naresh and Sinu is there. Abhay?
I don't see them today. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah.
So you to tell something about Gita. Let us start by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna.
No, let's start, sir. I have, a lot of talking points by Mahinder and JP sir. I want to echo what they are saying. We are in good company. That's all I want to say. Emphasize as they emphasized, and we want to continue see the good thoughts and get back to original state of. Try to get back to that state where we can, this 1 hour of discussion keeps us going for the next 1 week. And then again, give us strength to continue with that good work that we are doing to keep the mind, to take the control away from the mind and go beyond mind, using the mind itself. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
Yes. So I will try to share my views or thoughts by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji Ranganathan Maharaj. This Gita, Bhagavad Gita, it is called the essence of Upanishads. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana. So the essence of Upanishads is nothing but Bhagavad Gita, what Swamiji says. And the peculiarity of this Gita, Bhagavad Gita, is that generally any spiritual discourse or a help or a message, it takes place in a serene atmosphere or in an amicable atmosphere or in a temple or the shore of a river or any sanctified place, it takes place. But in case of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna taught Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gnana Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, and all this, Dhyana Yoga, the whole spirituality at the time of war. So it is so peculiar. So the time of war, in the midst of war, he taught this. And it was a message to this modern world. In Kali Yuga, means the Dwapara, he taught and his message is forever, so eternal. So whatever the truth, eternal truth, the other day I said the established truth, gravitational force or Pascal law or Newton law, and the water percolating into the soil and settled there. And whatever you take this basic scientific truths, so they are eternal, because long back it was there and it would be in future also gravitational, but there is no alteration to that. So eternal, these are all eternal. So in the same way, the values also eternal. So Ranganathan's book is also named as his lectures and teachings and his writings, and named as eternal values for the changing society. So society may change, but the eternal, the values are eternal. They never change. Though in the same way, though Lord Krishna taught in Dwapara, but is relevant till today in future also, because they are eternal. Eternal truths. And one more thing just now I have said, what is the message that he said at the time of war? It is a symbol, it is symbolic. Of course, he taught to only Arjuna, but to the whole world. Yes, in the name of Arjuna, he taught to the whole world, not only to India, to the whole world. So, to be frank, we need a guidance, we need a message, we need a support when we are in ambiguous situation, when we are in struggle. If everything is good, nobody think of spirituality. Just now how our sir said, JP sir said, it is friends are there, and Mahendra also said, many friends. But as far as spirit and a real friendship is concerned, very rare. If you think about, if you talk about the spirituality or something different from ordinary things, they escape. Yes, it is not that much easy to take the name of God or think of and come into this fold of spirituality. So, when we are in struggle, when we are in dilemma, when we are in confusion, when there is ambiguous situation, when you are not in a position to take a right path, so that time only we need the message. Spirituality comes there. So where the philosophy ends, spirituality starts. Where the materialistic life ends, philosophy starts. Where philosophy ends, the spirituality starts. It is the highest path, the noblest path, the ultimate path. So Lord Krishna said at the time of war. So Arjuna is Sabyasachi, Mahabaho. Lord Krishna said Mahabaho. And he won Pashupatastra with Lord Shiva. He fought and he got that. So he's a valor, more courageous. He's not covered, and he decided to fight. But at the time of war, and he said, I'm sweating. So my mind is like a whirling. So I can't decide what to do. And he became weak. So though he was strong, Sabyasachi, but he became weak. Confusion, what to do, what not to do. So that is there in this modern man life. So every moment there is this situation comes, what to do, what not to do. So this dilemma. So always there is a war going on within. That Kauravas and Pandavas are with us, within. The negative thoughts and positive thoughts, they are always fighting. And what is actual life? What is the real life? And mind sometimes says that this is, yes, we have enough wealth, or life is settled, as Mahendra said. And we have a nice shelter, clothing, food, and of course, remaining all things. And what more that comes? But that situation, the mind says this, but sometimes there is a longingness, restlessness, and inside we think that something is we lost. We are not getting real happiness. There is a gulf. So that situation comes. Sometimes what for this all? What is this life? What is the purpose of life? So like this, many conflict situations, and mind says about something outwardness, and have this and have that, go for this, go for that, and you have satisfied this, so and so. So many conflict situations. Every day, every moment, there is a war. Every Vishaya, we call it as, these are all called in Vedanta Vishaya. So every Vishaya, there is a war. So there is a conflict situation. And then we need a right guide. So then we need Gita. Bhagavad Gita, the voice, the Vani, the voice of Master, the voice of Lord we need. So then we take a right path. So Arjuna, he went, and in the beginning, Lord Krishna did not say anything. And one more interesting point, Lord Krishna was with all Pandavas many years, but they thought that just he is our friend, just a relative. That's all they thought, or a saver. He saves some from some problems. He thought like that only. But Lord Arjuna never asked Krishna to tell something great. So he is Jagat Guru, he is Purnavatara, incarnation. And right from boyhood, right from a child, he exhibited that power. He knew that Lord, all Pandavas, including Arjuna, but they never asked Krishna, tell me, so show me the path to realize my real nature. He never asked. But the wartime, in the beginning, Arjuna started telling in the first chapter. This Arjuna, he himself said his own philosophy. So I don't want to do this war. If I do, why? Reasons he said. And they are all my relatives. How can I kill? Then I don't want this food of this blood. Yes. So he said many, and Lord Krishna just he listened. Then when Arjuna said, I surrender to you. Svadhimam tvam prapannam. So I am not deciding what to do. Svadhimam tvam prapannam. He said, I am prapanna means surrendering. So I am surrendering to you. So I am very confusing state. I don't know what to do. Shishyasveham svadhimam tvam prapannam. He says that Shishyasteham svadhimam tvam prapannam. So now I am your Shishya. So now I am surrendering to you. Then show me the path. Then Lord Krishna taught. He said many things to Arjuna. To be frank, it is not to Arjuna, to the whole world, to the whole community, these human beings. So when Arjuna says that, so I am, my mind is like willful, unrest. I'm sitting, my Gandhiva, it is dropping from my hands. Then Lord Krishna says, he simply, he prahasanneva Bharata, just he amused, smiled, and then said, Kutastva kasmanvedam vishame samupastitam anarjista sargam akirti karmarjana. And next sloka he says, Klaibyam mas magamah partha naitatva yupapadate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktotishta parantapa. Ranganathan Maharaj says that it is a great tonic. Klaibyam mas magamah partha. So don't be unmanly. Don't be covered, unmanly, napumsaka. He uses that word. So don't be a napumsaka, unmanly person. And kshudram hridaya daurbalyam. This hridaya daurbalya, it is kshudram, very worst. Tyaktotishta, just awake. And it is a great shock, a tonic. That is needed today. We need ordinary talks, soothing talks, just pacifying message not needed. Just stories, cock and bull stories. Doing hello, mute చేసుకోండి అందరూ. So better to mute.
Kiran Garu, please. Yeah.
Some disturbance is there.
Yeah, I think everybody is muted now. Yeah.
So Hari Bol, Jai Ram Krishna. So when there is a, that is a tonic we need to this modern world. Just simply pacifying, simple methods, do's and don'ts, you will get rid of all these problems. No, it makes no difference. We need, the problem is more. So Sri Ramakrishna says that in those days he said, so we are completely immersed in worldly life. A chronic problem is there. And then he said, a simple quinine is not needed, simple tonic. We need a strong dose so that we get rid of that disease, that problem. So this is also a disease we call Bhavaroga, it is called in Vedanta. And this disease is very chronic. So when disease is chronic and ordinary treatment is simple dose, simple medicine is not needed. We need a strong dose. If possible, surgery also needed. Though it is what you call, we face hardship. It is not good to cut something, but there is no other way. And the problem is persisting in such a way. So Lord Krishna, this is the speciality of Bhagavad Gita, and he taught the time of war. So this is the Swami Ji says that, Swami Vivekananda says that it is what we call the essence of Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the essence of Upanishads. The gist of Upanishads is nothing but Bhagavad Gita. So we get a pure knowledge in what called Upanishads. The real spiritual knowledge is there in Upanishads. Vedanta we call it as. So we have 4 Vedas, you know that. So at the end of Veda, the Anta, the essence of that spirituality, that Upanishads are there. They are pure spirituality, pure science we call it as. The real knowledge, as Ranganathan Maharaj says, that study of man in depth. So that knowledge is there in the Upanishads about this body, mind, body-mind complex, buddhi, panchakosha, this Atman, and many other things are there. And Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupta Avastha, and Guna, about three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, and Gunatita, and Avasthatraya, Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupta, and Turiya state. So many things, and dream state, awakening state, deep sleep state, and beyond that, so many things are there in Upanishads. So Mandikya Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad. So like that, we have Mundaka Upanishad. Many Upanishads are there, but 10 Upanishads are very highly, accepted by these three Acharyas, Shankara Bhagavad Bhagavad Ramanuja, and Madhvacharya. They wrote commentary to those Upanishads. So they are pure science. And of course, it is not that much easy to understand the Upanishads. So the essence of those Upanishads we can see in Bhagavad Gita. And some of the shlokas are as it is. Just when you, some shlokas just when you read, when you go through some certain Upanishads, there is a little, sometimes only one or two words there is a change. One word only there is change. One letter, one or two letters there change, but remaining all are same. So that is the greatness of Bhagavad Gita, because it came from Lord Krishna, a Purnavatara. And another important thing is it is relevant to future also. So that is the greatness of great teachers. Even Swami Vivekananda, his teachings also relevant till today, in future also. And Swami Vivekananda himself said, my message, I am voice without form, and coming 1500 years, I inspired the youth. He said, 1500 years, his impact is there. That continues. And that is the greatness of great teachers. And what about, and the Avatara, Krishna, Lord Krishna, and his message is relevant till today. It is applicable to all sorts of people. That is the greatness. As a student, it is applicable to a student, a householder, an industrialist, a theist also, theists, spiritual personalities, philosophers, whomsoever concerned, and it is relevant. Relevance is there. Because if you know gravitational force is there, now we are getting the benefit of that. And we are getting the benefit of this Newton's law, third law. No, it is is it only pertaining to only a theist or atheist or good people or bad people, educated, uneducated? No, not at all. Householder? No, anybody can use that. If it is applied, that gadgets we can use. It is applicable to the whole humanity. Yes, in the same way that this spiritual truth, this spiritual science, this mundane life, physical science is applicable in future also. And the basic truths, what I mean to say, of course, there are some changes, but basic gravitational force, there is no change in it. Nobody can say that there is some another force, another alteration is there to this gravitational force. Nothing. No, not at all. It is there. Even Newton's whole action and reaction are equal and opposite. Yes, is there any, can we change that? No, not at all. But gadgets may be developed, we can develop, but it is forever, for future. In the same way, whatever Lord Krishna taught, and it is relevant. Relevance is there, present, in the past, of course, in the present, in future also. So it is better to start Bhagavad Gita, and of course in coming days we are going to celebrate Gita Jayanti also. So let us start with one sixth chapter. I prefer in the beginning, the sixth chapter, and I try to say, of course I can't say that interpret, but what Sri Ramakrishna makes me to tell, I proceed. The sixth chapter is called as Dhyana Yoga. When I was just 8th or 9th student, I used to read this. Of course, those days I used to have Telugu Gorakhpur publication, Bhagavad Gita book, a pocket size with a simple meaning. And in the beginning, for each adhyaya, each chapter, and a small story, and they said that Phalita, merit, if you read so and so chapter, what merit, what benefit you will get. So they said. So while reading that stories, and I felt that the sixth chapter, the benefit is applicable to me. Then I started simply reading that sixth chapter. So I read the first shloka, then let us discuss. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha na niragnirna chakriyah. Anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na cha kriyah. Sri Bhagavan said, he who does his duty without expecting the fruit of actions is a sannyasi and a yogi, both. He is no sannyasi, a renouncer, who has merely renounced the fire, sacred fire. Even so, he is no yogi who has merely given up all activity. So I read out, then let us discuss. He who does his duty without expecting the fruit of actions is a sannyasi and a yogi, both. He is no sannyasi who has merely renounced the sacred fire. Even so, he is no yogi who has merely given up all activity. So here, Lord Krishna is saying about sannyasi and yogi, but the chapter name is Dhyana Yoga. And he is talking about Karma Yoga also and Sannyasa Yoga. So here the beauty of Lord Krishna's teaching. So his teaching is the comprehensive, and he never comes to the point in every shloka, every chapter. He never comes to the point directly, and he gives the whole picture as just like a teacher when he introduces a topic, and he thinks in view of below average, average, and above average student. So in the same way, and he sometimes basics also he touches the teacher, a good teacher. He what you call the relevance, and he correlates with day-to-day life experiences also. So in the same way, Lord Krishna also is in this shloka, the chapter named as Dhyana Yoga. In this, Lord Krishna says how to meditate, where to meditate, and what are the preconditions for meditation. And to be a yogi, what type of food we have to take, and all things, where to sit and how to sit, and how to control mind, and everything he said. But here now in this chapter, directly in the first sloka, he is not saying that. And he's saying about a real yogi and a real sannyasi. Anashritaha karmaphalam karyam karma karotyaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragdirna chakriyaha. So here he said, who is a real yogi? Who is a pseudo yogi, a false yogi? Who is a real sannyasi and who is a false, a pseudo sannyasi? He has given the clear picture here. Generally, sannyasa means samyak nyasa. It has a depth meaning. But Shastra says that niragni, the person who does not touch the agni, the fire, both the sacred fire and the ordinary level, not lighting the what you call the fire to cook. Yes, firewood. So generally, in Grihasthas, what they do to cook, and we need fire we need, so that we consume our food. But the sannyasa dharma, when they took oath, they are not supposed to cook themselves. It means they have to take alms, bhiksha, and 5 houses they have to go. So whatever they get in their this much size, and they consume. So they are called as a sannyasi. But it is not mere, he is not mere sannyasi, just giving up this fire or sacred fire also. In the same way, yogi, he also saying that even so he is a no yogi who has merely given up all activity. So generally yogi means also that, so giving this world and going to forest, sitting in a cave, and we say that he is a yogi, and giving up all activities and not doing any actions. No, he is not a yogi. He has to do karma. And Lord Krishna, he said, you have to do karma, but you give up the result, the fruits. He is a real yogi, not merely giving up karma, sitting idle. Yes, he is called a somari. Yes, a lazy person, idle person. No, Vedanta never says that not doing any work, not doing any action, simply sitting. No, it is not. You have to do karma, you have to do action. But asangaha, detachment. You have to work like a master, but not like as a slave. Swamiji says that you work like a master, not as a slave. So to be a yogi, it means in dhyana yoga, we have to become a yogi. Actually, we are doing meditation means we are trying to become a yogi. The yogic stage, that Sthitaprajna concept, that controlling of the mind, controlling of the senses, introspection. So to attain that, not simply not doing any action, or simply I do meditation, means you never be succeeded. That Lord Krishna is saying that. Even sannyasa also. Just not merely touching, I don't touch the fire, so I am a sannyasi, or just wearing clothes, I am a sannyasi. No, not at all. That is why Swami Vivekananda, while establishing Ramakrishna Math and mission, and he said so and so we have to do these activities, and we have to combine 4 yogas: karma yoga, gnana yoga, bhakti yoga, and raja yoga, and we have to do some service activities. So then they opposed. Sri Ramakrishna never said that. He said the goal of life is realization. We have to do sadhana and think of God. And they opposed in the beginning. Then Sharda Ma, he they complained to Shardama also. Then Shardama said, whatever Swamiji is saying, he's doing, it is right. He's not doing. Sri Ramakrishna, he is directing him. So then Shardama said, why he decided like that? So we are in Kali Yuga, Annagata Prana. So without food, body we won't feel like doing sadhana, even one day or half day. So such is our body, this Kali Yuga. So, and we can't sit hours together in meditation. So that is why Swamiji said we have to do some activities, service activities, and some Gnana path discrimination. And the yoga means Neti, Gnana yoga we have to path, and Dhyana yoga and discrimination, and all this we have to take up. So here Lord Krishna is also saying the same. So to succeed in meditation, you have to become a yogi. You have to become a sannyasi also. But here, there are two types of sannyas. One is external, another one is internal sannyas. Sri Ramakrishna says that to all householders, so you should be a internal yogi, manasika yogi. External, not wearing these saffron clothes. No, but internally, you should lead a saintly life. That is called Abhyasa and Kontaya Vairagya. Abhyasa and Vairagya. This Vairagya, sannyasa means Samyak Nyasa. Samyak Nyasa means giving up for lower thing for higher thing. Giving up lower thing for higher thing. That is called sannyasa. So, for example, nowadays software engineers, they join in a particular company. But after getting experience, if they want to excel more, and in both ways they think of a high salary, at the same time high position, and a good company, a challenging company. Here he is giving up. How? Joyfully he is giving up that job. What for higher thing, for nobler thing, for greater thing. Merely giving up, but here with the giving up with the sadness, by force. No, by happiness. By happily we have to give up. So this is the real meaning. This means when you are giving up means not externally. Of course, externally some this wearing the such clothes, and Shastra say that you should not touch, because there is an inner meaning in that. So when you think of this, the food to cook, or you have to what? You have to fetch something, and you have to collect an accumulation, and you have to protect that, and for that, so your mind dwells in that, and so that you may not contemplate more on divinity. So that when you take alms, that's all, that particular time you take food, and remaining time is left to you. What for higher things. So that is why not merely giving up is not useful, but with a purpose. That should be there, that awareness is there always. So that Lord Krishna is saying that. And in the same way, yogi means, oh, I don't want everything, I give up, no responsibility, nothing. No. Once Sri Ramakrishna, a devotee came to Sri Ramakrishna, and he said, and he had a wife and children, and he used to stay at Sri Ramakrishna. And once he saw, and that particular day, and he scolded, Sri Ramakrishna scolded the devotee. Who looks after your wife and children? His neighbors? Yes. Don't you feel shy? Yes, go and look after. You have certain responsibilities, certain duties. So, but here the thing he said, the most thing, you have to not merely work, not merely not working, giving up work is yogi in nature. No, you have to do action. You should be a yogi, karma yogi first, then dhyana yogi, and that stage you lead. So, but how, what way we have to do that work? That action means asangaha. Without, there should not be an attachment to that. It means work for work's sake. Work is worship. That's all. It means like a master. It means don't a slave. Slave means that bondage, attachment. And to give one simple example, for example, so I conducted a program, a stage program. Then many people, they came, they attended, and that is over. And next day, the very moment after that, we expect that, and somebody should remark us. Somebody should say about that program, and we think about that our statement in the paper, our photo, and they have to call, they have to tell. So we expect this. Here, what happens? You are doing actually work, what for, with a purpose. Yes, but here, say for example, next day you went somewhere else, and all people are there, but nobody asked you about your program, and not at all they are thinking about that, and you feel so horrible. It is so horrible. You feel there is no joy. What you expect that? So somebody should recollect about the program. Somebody should say about that program. Somebody should admire, and somebody should say that, oh, I was seeing you in the photo. So nice program you are conducting. So if not there, what happens? There is no joy. Castor oil face. So here, just the purpose, what we are doing, we are serving the society. We have to do some good to the society. So you are taking, you have take up you took up that, you took up that work, that program you conducted. That's all. You never then expects in from others, in turn of admiration or whatever it may be. Otherwise, what happens? You wait for that. Then what happens? The longing face. But actually, to derive happiness, the bliss, joy, you are doing that activity. But here, what happens? The result is unhappiness. So that is why karma yogi you have to become. You have to. Who is a real yogi? Who does action, but how karyam karma karotyaha anashritaha karma phalam. Here, do work, but karma phala, you don't expect that karma phala. In the same way, a singer is there and a program, a nice 1 hour music concert. But next day when he comes out, so nobody is talking, nobody start telling about his performance. Then he feel what? Misery. Actually, this is a Nada yoga. Narada, Tyagaraja, Swami, and Ramadas, Kabir, Suradas, Mirabai. So they use this as a yoga, Nada yoga, to unite with God, to get immense happiness. That is also yoga. To unite with that God, this is Nada yoga. So you are part and parcel of that. You are following that. So your goal is for that. Yes, you are for the God. Yes, you have to pacify that God. God should listen your song. You are praying him in the form of song. So he has to receive, he has to accept. But here, what you are saying, your prayer, your song is for the sake of society admiration. But just now I have said, give an example. No, they, for what sake? Just they use it as a yoga. So in the same way, here Lord Krishna says that anashrita karma phalam yuktam karyam karma karotyaha sa sannyasi chi yogi cha. So he is a a sannyasi means not merely just giving up this fire. So he equalized sannyasi and yogi, both are equal. There is no difference. Sannyasi and yogi, both goal are same. What is that? And in future, he tells, it means we are going to do meditation. So in meditation, what happens? What is its result? There we are becoming a sannyasi also, internal sannyasi as a gruhastha, and we are becoming a yogi with not giving up that activities, work, our responsibilities, duties. But when you become a good yogi, a teacher becomes a good teacher, a professor becomes a good professor, a householder becomes a good householder, and he thinks that I am the Atman. So I am manifesting that divinity through my action. So this is the goal of our action. It means the fruit is that actually. But what we think, the fruit, we think that this in mundane life, in material life, materialistic result only we want. But actual fruit is this. That is that immense happiness and realizing our real nature. So to attain that, what is needed? Not just mere. So some people say that no, I'm not doing all these activities. I gave up response. No, you work like a master, as a owner, not as a servant. Servant, what does he? And he always thinks about, looks about time, and what time he comes at 10 o'clock, and again tea time, lunch time, and 5:30 or 6. He always looks about this towards the watch only his time. But as a master, you are the owner. How does you work? And morning only will go, and you sometimes you won't get time to eat also. Is it not so? But here, how you are working just as a master, as a free will, and there is no compulsion. Nobody is there to forcing. Nobody is there to force. So out of your own interest you are doing. Yes, and you are not working there to get the what you call admiration of that workers. Yes, here to satisfy. Of course, the motto may be different, the earning money, but in higher level, if we think that master means then to master ourselves, that is called Swami, that self-master. So nobody is there to control us. So our happiness is not depend on material, other things. There is other day, last time I said, Sarvam Parosham Dukkham, Sarvam Atmavasham Sukham. So your happiness lies in your own self, not outward actions. So this is the what you call message in this sloka. So we continue in next our satsang. So JP sir.
Sir, so good, and we're very happy to hear. This is what we wish to get from. So by reading books we get, but it comes from a person like you, then there will be more vivid explanation, and we can also ask our doubt face to face, and so such a discourse definitely quenches our thirst. It quenches our thirst more than reading the book we get. I'm very, very happy to hear these enlightening words. So happy, and my gratitude from
No,
the depth of heart.
it's not need to say gratitude is our obligation. We are this is called Rushi Runa, Guru Runa. we are, this is Runa is there, no? The debt. So, and this is our response, our, we ought to do that. Otherwise, there is no meaning to that.
So good, so good, so happy. You know, so with this, when we go for evening prayers, fully charged now. So full with this charge, in the next 1 hour, in half an hour, I will go for by around 7 p.m. So fully charged. So this will help us to calm this distracting fellow inside. So this is so happy. Request, sir, to continue like this.
So the timings, let us continue the same time, 4:50.
Sir, ask, please ask others also. 5 o'clock, please. 5 o'clock, no? We started today.
No, 4:50 I said. So that.
Oh, I am sorry, I got late. I thought it was at 5. So if all the time which we all agree to, which you suggest, I am ready. From 4:50 is quite okay, or 5 o'clock, as sir suggests, as others suggest. Abhay, Mahinder sir, and
yes. So Mahinder.
Sir, it's 5 for me. Sunday we are free, sir. Sunday, it's nice.
5
so
p.m. is
better to maintain. Of course, in when Abhay goes to America, there's a problem.
It's okay.
Then 12 hours difference is there now, Abhay. 12. So that
39,
early morning 5 might be there.
Yeah, it will be early morning. Yeah, 3:30 a.m. actually. 5 is. So that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about me.
When is Abhay leaving? January.
In January. So till that time,
till then we can. After that we can reschedule, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, when he is going from, then we can make an shift in timing. We can make. Till then we can continue this, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Abhay should also join, so that that's good.
No, don't worry about me. I'll join anyways. Whatever time you guys figure it out.
No, 3 a.m. would be so difficult for. Then we will find out some other time, which will be convenient for you also. Yeah.
So let us find with prayer.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.